try this. If you can let me know if it's working. Still, it says I'm live. Hello! This is Quincelton Moracious with Fury of Dracula. I'll be commentating a game. I am trying to see if this works. But I will assume that it is. We'll be commentating between Fangs of Fire and... looks like it's already started.
Yeah, and you're definitely live, by the way. I can see it on my YouTube.
Oh, so very good.
I'll post
Scott Sword is helping me figure all of this out. You'd think I would know how to do this, given that I've done it a few times in the past, and you'd be wrong. Alright, but here we are with Geo versus Fangs of Fire. And they are still getting ready to set up. But you can watch this via spectation, or you can watch right now and comment. I'm not going to respond, most likely, because I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah, hopefully you get a co-commentator. I wish I could stick around, but I've got dinner to go to, unfortunately.
Alright, that's fine. Yeah, if someone else wants to get on Discord and help me commentate, that's fine, but that is okay. I'm fine with commentating alone, which I will be sure to do as soon as anything happens in the game, which is currently not happening. They're picking.
They might be waiting for you.
No, they're going. They're going. All right, I'm gonna shut off Discord. Well, no, I'll keep it going in the event.
Because just in case, if somebody does want to spectate with you, they can just jump into this voice channel that we're in.
Right. They can just.
You don't have to flap around trying to start a call and stuff.
Okay. Oh, I should let them know I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm ready. Commentating and such. All right. Good. Okay, so it looks like we're getting a variation on the setup. A lot of these newer players like these shotgun setups, where they set up hunters sort of all over the board. I like seeing newer and different setup techniques. Those can be interesting, and we can see how they can work. And that is how innovation happens, when people try new things. And sometimes new players are the best people at trying new things. Oh, but this is not a shotgun setup. It is a new thing. Instead of starting in 58, they're starting in 44, presumably to help deal with a Amsterdam start. That is a little faster to Amsterdam. It's 2 moves as opposed to the regular 3. This does suffer some of the same problems that you have with Eastern Europe, and it's a little weak to Italy. But it is what it is. And let's see here. Folks be leaving and such. Yeah, if you're wanting to commentate, actually call me. I don't want to leave a Discord channel just open perpetually. That is spooky to me. But yeah, we got to see a game just now with Fangs of Fire. He was playing the Hunters. Now he is playing as Dracula. Geo is new, though. I couldn't tell you much about him. I will, of course, be rooting for the Hunters, because I like rooting for the good guys. And also because when it comes to new players, very often they will not win as Hunters. Because it is very hard to win when you're controlling all 4 Hunters, especially when you are new to the game. For Master Hunters, it is pretty even. There is maybe a slight advantage towards the Hunters, but it's pretty close. Ooh. So in this case, I would probably guess, like, I don't know, Athens and Valona, maybe Bari? I don't know. It's really hard when you're hip shooting with hired scouts. But yeah, I haven't been doing many videos. I have been busy with being a writer, which is actually what I need to be spending my time on. But I like helping out the new hunters, giving them a chance to be on YouTube, and shooting that out to all my various subscribers. Now, when you have a setup, when you've figured out how you want your setup to work, you want to also have in your mind these are the cities that are good for me to hired scout. You don't want to be subscribed. You don't want to be surprised by the card. Marseille and Naples. Naples is down here. I don't know about picking Marseille. I I don't think Dracula's very often pick Marseille as a starting location. Alright, we were able to grab that fog. That'll be nice. That's always advantageous. Dracula starting with bats and a vampire is a little spooky. It means that he will be able to throw down that vampire, rumor it, and then protect it with a bats. If he wants to. He doesn't have to want to do that. Using hide in the first week is not like a... It's not like a thing that you must do. Thou shalt use the hide trick. It is a thing that you can do. Don't feel like it is a thing that you have to do. Looks like people are checking my stream instead of spectating normally. You can spectate normally. The advantage of spectating normally is that you get to click on all the things you want to click on. I will try to be good about doing that. I am not very good about checking discard piles. That is a place where I am deficient in the game. But, not everyone can do what one shouldst do. And you try to get better. Oh, looks like Captain Gyro might be able to co-host. Let me see if I can import him. Stand by. Please hold. Your call is important to us. Now, of course, the real test will be whether or not his audio levels are any good.
Well, hello.
Hello, Captain Gyro.
How you doing, buddy?
I am doing good. I hope your audio levels are good. Anyone in the comments, check and see if you can hear me or Captain Gyro. But mostly Captain Gyro, because I'm sure he sounds cooler on the YouTube than I do.
Certainly not. I just checked the stream. I sound loud enough, I think.
Great, great. Well, what do you think about this alternate setup that we're seeing from Geo here?
It's interesting. I don't know about 44. Why 44? It feels like you're just kind of one space further away from everywhere.
Yeah.
Except maybe Amsterdam.
I feel like this setup was done by somebody who lost too many times to Amsterdam, and was like, I must pick a setup that lets me not get got by...
Seward. Put Seward in 8.
Yeah, this just makes Athens so much more of a pain.
Right. The east is more
and all of the east and the south. Like some of the variable setups, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but this kind of just feels like an inferior version of Scott's Sword
44
setup.
might be strictly worse than 58, but we'll have to see whether it provides
We'll
any
have to
advantages.
see. Yeah, like you were saying, if you really hate that Amsterdam is one of your weak spots, start Seward in 8. You might think Dracula starting in Spain is a really big problem you have to worry about, but Spain can be hard to escape from. There are, especially if the hunters actually do railroad tomfoolery. Alright, we're seeing a classic misdirect.
There's not a lot of great destination options when you leave from Spain. right?
Yeah.
Like you can land in Ireland or England somewhere, or go all the way around to northern Germany. Other than that, it's Italy or all the way east.
Yeah, your choice is usually water or hunters.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to put yourself in that position early. Like, it can work, but there are weaknesses to it. It's not as bad of a situation as the Amsterdam start can be for some hunters. I mean, in some games, the Amsterdam start can just wreck a game. Like, you mature, and then Dracula wolf forms out of Strasbourg, and it's like, great, he got 7 points, and I don't know where the heck he is.
Well, another way to prevent Amsterdam start is to just psychic scan Germany after he places the first encounter card.
That is easier to do with my setup, where you start someone
Yeah.
in 38.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with the Amsterdam start because I split my hunters between 38 and 58. That costs you a day action in having to move one of the hunters to the other location. But this game's all about trade-offs, and you have to decide what is it that you think is the bigger threat to you right now.
Yeah.
And every setup is going to have those one or two cities that are like, I can't quite get here in 2 turns.
There's always a weak link.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is
And
why
then
those are
you
often the
pull
good
hired
ones.
Scouts and you search those first. Yep.
Exactly. Which is why when it took so long for hired scouts to come out, it makes me think that maybe he's trying out this setup, that he hasn't done it a lot. Which makes sense. Geo is a newer player after all. Okay, we have a knife, a garlic wreath, and a holy circle in the discard pile. Knife in the discard pile. Interesting. Yeah, I am coming around to the whole knife is better than the Heavenly Host school. I can understand why people say that.
Yeah, if you have to throw one or the other out, kind of lean more towards throwing out that over that.
I at least have to think about it right now.
Right, it's true. And it also depends on if you have consecrated ground in hand yet.
Yeah, not having a weapon early on can be a really big problem. It's really more of a question. See, when people are like, oh, is this item better than that item? It's really more important to look at a hand and be like, what is
What can
better,
you do
this
with the
hand
hand?
of items or this hand of items?
Yeah,
Oh,
well
snap.
said. Oh, interesting.
Okay, that is a good
old,
guess.
The Dracula Highway.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Dracula Highway is a dangerous... It's a good place to send hired scouts out because you are likely to catch a Dracula. Now, the hunters need to resist the urge to try to go to Dracula. Geneva is not far away. It's 2 moves away from Seward if he's able to get a good rail. And yeah.
Yeah. No reason to rush. Do anything silly.
Yeah, you need events, you need items, and you're not going to jump on Dracula, nor do you want to, because where he is right now isn't really what matters. What really matters is where he is going to, and holy consecrated ground, Batman. You hate to draw that. It's like, I guess the cat's out of the bag there.
Oh, Mina got it?
Mina has consecrated ground.
Well, at least you have it.
At least...
I'd rather have it and reveal it to Dracula than not see it at all.
And maybe that illustrates why that knife got discarded.
Now, we gotta watch out because there's one Dracula event and there's 2 copies of it, and that can potentially make her discard consecrated ground. So
Yes,
I think
definitely.
the priority now is get that off of her.
Yeah. I am a big believer in getting powerful cards like that off of hunters, because I am a man who night supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And part of night supplying is knowing that only certain of the events are going to be really bad for you. But if Mina is holding on to really good events, then Vampiric Influence suddenly becomes one of those really bad cards.
Yeah, don't let Dracula get a bad event card and turn it into a good event card.
Right,
and get
like-
a bunch of value. I'm not saying Vampiric Influence is bad, but it's not like one of the big power
Right,
cards.
It's not one of the good
But
big
if he
power
uses
cards.
it to discard consecrated ground, then all of a sudden it's like the best card in the game.
Yeah, like don't night supply
Don't-
before
don't
Dracula's
give him
trail.
that value.
Yeah, like don't night supply before Dracula's trail has been discovered. Otherwise, sensationalist press suddenly becomes a really
You,
good card.
yeah, you turn it from off to on.
In one of my very first games on digital, I had sensationalist press used on one of my opening newspaper report draws, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so don't night supply." This is when I was first developing the whole like always supply, and I was like, "Oh, should you night supply too?" And the answer is no, you should not, um, because of course, there's only one copy of Sensationalist Press. There is an argument to be made in a way to do the tactic where as soon as there are three hideouts, that you have everyone not just only day supplying, but you also have them only night supplying, and you try to bum rush newspaper reports. That is a tactic. That is a strategy. I'm not sure it's a good one, but I would like to see people try it more.
I find myself when Dracula's location, when his trail has 3 spots down. In other words, if you would draw newspapers and could set it off immediately,
Uh-huh.
and that feels like it would be really important, I've gambled on a night supply for some newspapers before.
Yeah, I especially like doing it with Seward because he needs to do more supplies generally anyway.
Mm-hmm. Or
Um,
Godalming if he's down a couple of items that he traded.
right. Yeah.
If you feel like it could be a good time, it's all about making the most of it, right? So don't night supply when you don't need new items.
Right.
But don't just night supply because you do need items. Night supply when you can get items, and also when you're in a situation where like, oh, a local rumors right now would
Right.
be huge.
When the
'cause it would
potential
be able to
upside.
see.
Right. If you're
Yeah,
going to have a big
exactly.
risk, you want to have a good upside to counteract it. And then
Yeah,
it can become worth it.
don't assume all the risk without being able to potentially profit from the reward.
Right. You got to be constantly analyzing this. Like if Mystic Research comes out and then you see Darkness Returns and Emmanuel Hilderscheme and Unearthly Swiftness have been pulled from the bottom of the deck, you need to be like, oh, okay, hold on.
Maybe a
Maybe I
little
need to night
night supplying
supply
is in
because,
order.
like, what's the worst that can happen? And that's Vampiric Influence if Mina is holding on to Consecrated Ground, but, like, don't in that circle. You can, if the circumstances change, and the circumstances are constantly changing in this game, then you need to change with them. And it looks like the hunters are properly staying in place, as they should.
Yeah, it's nice to know where he is, but there's no reason to capitalize on that just yet.
Yeah, I have toyed around with a variant that is supposed to be the historical start of the game, which requires the hunters to start in specific locations in the UK and Germany, but Dracula is required to move to Castle Dracula as his first move and
His
cannot
first
place
move.
a vampire or hoax there. And so it's like you start the game, basically everyone knows where Dracula is, but you start really far away from him.
Right.
So like Van Helsing starts in Amsterdam, Godalming starts in 19, and Mina and Seward both start in London. But Dracula must move to Castle Dracula and cannot mature Castle Dracula.
Where's 19 again?
That's Scotland. That's Edinburgh.
Okay.
Because in the book it mentions that Godalming goes on hunting trips to Edinburgh. I didn't want to just start everyone in London. It's,
Right.
It's like no, there needs to be some variability. It's like this is the scenario setup.
Right. That sounds fun. I've played a few games where I made my opening Dracula move to Castle Dracula.
What is that like?
I wouldn't recommend it. But my mindset, like, I wasn't trying to troll the guy or anything. Like, I had a strategy in mind. The idea is, if the hunters have to go to Castle Dracula and deal with the hoax or the vampire or whatever you put there, they can't supply in Castle Dracula.
Right, it does.
And 22 and 28 are also small towns. So you can even potentially delay them even further and just keep them stuck in that area for a little bit. It didn't really work out great for me, but it wasn't because of that. I mean,
yeah, I don't know how balanced my scenario style is, although I'd like to try it. just to see, because one thing people have complained about the game is that it takes, like, the first week of the game is kind of dull and like not a lot is going on,
Right.
and this style kind of forces you to move, because it's like, no, you actually can't really stay put in supply. You actually kind of need to get over to where Dracula is. And like the guy who can get
Maybe
there
night
fastest
fly a
is
little.
Van Helsing, and it's like, ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know if you want to send Van Helsing there super fast. So I feel like it would just result in a very different meta.
The other thing about starting at Castle Dracula is all of a sudden you don't really care about hired scouts or newspaper reports or
Exactly,
local
yeah, they
rumors or
become-
evil friends. You just laugh in their face and go, "You already know where I am."
Right, you already
Doesn't
know where I
matter."
am, and so the hunt. Yeah, for the hunters, it is. Anyway, I just like to try it and see.
Yeah, I like variants.
Yeah, like I like that variant they were trying where the what was it? Dark Call made it where the hunters had to night supply.
Right.
That's cool. I like that.
I like we couldn't really do this with the digital, but I've had an idea for a long time where instead of trying to catch Dracula, you're trying to kill all of Dracula's brides, and they each are 6 health new vampires. And there's the event deck is the same, so you don't need to go buy new cards or anything. You can still use the tabletop. It's just you now make 3 separate trails that cannot use any of the same location cards.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And I don't know you'd have to make a few adjustments, like maybe the rumor token can only be like on one trail or something. I don't know. You'd have to think it out. But I just really like that idea of like they're spread out and weaker, and you have to track them down and kill them. Maybe one's in Spain and one's in Italy and one's in the East, and your hunters are like splitting up, and you just kind of have to think differently about the game now.
Yeah, that could be an interesting thing, having to hunt down multiple targets. That's sort of how Nuns on the Run work, where there are multiple targets that you're having to find and keep track of. Although that's interesting. That's
Run.
Yeah. It's a hidden movement game. One of you plays as Mother Superior and her underling, and then like a bunch of other people play as all the nuns that are trying to sneak out of the abbey. It's a line of sight game, so like you actually have to dictate which direction your character is pointing, and it's like hallways and stuff. And so it's the idea of having to keep track of multiple people who are hiding. It has some of that in there.
Nice. Yeah, these deduction games are a blast.
Yeah, this one's my favorite because it's a combination of multiple, strategy and deduction and resource management. All right, looks like the hunters have started to move in. They're moving in a little tight here, but I'm fine with it. Mina's keeping him from going too far to the east. Van Helsing has started to leave the UK, which, when to have Van Helsing leave, I think partly has more to do with what Van Helsing draws than anything else. Like, if he draws a horse, I kind of feel like, oh, okay, well, I guess Van Helsing has to leave the UK now, because I don't want him having a horse. I want him to give it to someone else.
Right, whereas if he gets a bunch of trash items,
you're like, yeah, I guess he
don't really want him to
there,
leave yet. Yeah.
Or if he keeps drawing events that he needs to trade, it's like, yeah, I can't afford him to be in the ocean this turn. All right.
Yeah, it's tricky knowing what to do with him, and yet I don't think there's many hunters who wouldn't start him in England, or at least somebody.
Yeah, you gotta start somebody in England.
The mindset has always been, if you're gonna have somebody be in England, it might as well be Van Helsing.
Right, because he has at least good night actions to do.
Right.
Whereas, like, if it's Seward, you're kind of keeping your best piece off the table for a long time. And yeah, having Seward there is basically okay. Now Dracula definitely isn't going to have UK starts. Whereas with Van Helsing, you actually will see Dracula start in the UK sometime, and those are fun games. They're very different games. I don't know if it's worth
mad
it.
Dash to try to drive him out of there and make sure he doesn't come back.
Right? Yeah, lots of early aggression.
Yeah, you don't want to see him start like looping around.
It's not like in second edition though, where in second edition they would often start Mina in the UK, and then sometimes you would have Dracula's almost his fourth move, which in second edition the day-night cycle was totally different, and night was half of the turns and day was half of the turns. And so on the fourth turn, which is when it's night, you actually move Dracula into Mina's space, and then you attack her and try to kill her. That was a whole tactic in second edition, which of course doesn't work now. And back then there wasn't an incentive to keep her with somebody because she didn't have her psychic bond ability because there were no regions in second edition.
Franco, I was thinking that myself. Why move Mina to 59? I think he was trying to see if Dracula had already gotten as far as 59, and now he wants to check 38 with Mina.
Yeah,
but it's
that does accomplish that.
Dracula could be there, but he's not.
He is
That's
not.
huge. That's huge right now. He could still be in 41. If I were Dracula, I'd like to be in 41. You can go to 44 and then wolf form maybe.
Yeah, 44 is a good wolf. Or actually, I would if I were in 41 right now, I think I would consider wolf forming as Dracula. Because you could go down to 59, you could go over to 58, you could go down to Venice, which hunters always check last. Apparently, that's what we learned in the last game. Hunters always check Venice last. Or you could go up to the coast, which I actually like the idea of going to 27 and then going to the sea and then immediately going to UK. My philosophy is that if you're going to go to the UK, you want to go to the UK early.
I tried that. It doesn't work.
They had consecrated ground.
I had a great game with Strider.
Oh, wait, and you wouldn't want to do that in this circumstance either because we know that they have consecrated ground.
Yeah.
So you actually don't.
We
Yeah.
know that now. You're right. I didn't consider that.
Yeah,
I had a game with Strider where he was probably only maybe 6 cards deep into the event deck. Maybe more than that. Maybe 10. And I was like, oh, I'll land in 19. There's no way he has it already. Dead.
And he knew you landed in 19?
Well, that was the thing, was when I landed there was still some doubt. And then he figured it out on that turn.
See, that's the worst
Classic
thing.
Dracula mistake, where you're hiding behind your obfuscation, and then just in time they're able to pierce that veil and figure out what's really going on.
That really hurts because it's the idea of obviously you don't want to do it if they know when you're there.
Strider, you revoked my visa.
Right, you're thinking, oh, there's no way that he can both find out where I am and jump on me in the same activation.
And he has consecrated ground.
Right.
Like, it would have to be the perfect storm, and it was. But yes, you're absolutely right in terms of like that can be a good play early when the hunters are still really undersupplied. They haven't washed through half the event deck yet. You go to 2, go to 19.
Yeah, because for the most part, you move just as fast as the hunters do on Ocean. The hunters' ability to move fast at Ocean is so much reduced as their ability to move fast by land, which they even talk about in the book. There's even a line where it says that his ability, we can move faster by land than he can by sea.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it. You can get from Paris to 58 in 2 days by train.
Yeah, it's... Oh, Fangs is having to rejoin to fix the portrait glitch. One of the more annoying glitches out there, but an easily fixable one. It's an annoying glitch because it doesn't, like, really affect gameplay. And so sometimes I'll just keep playing with the portrait glitch. But it's still kind of like it's still an annoying thing.
Yeah, I don't care for that one either. Especially when you're in combat with Dracula and the game tells you he's a reckless vampire.
Oh, is that what happens?
I know that already. That's why I'm in combat with him.
It says Dracula's a reckless vampire.
Sometimes it will do that.
I haven't encountered that. That's funny.
His main portrait will still be accurate, but then you'll click the info screen panel.
Oh, and then it'll say
like a reckless vampire.
It's like I'm wearing I'm just a regular vampire. I'm not Dracula.
He's wearing a top hat.
I have this
never
mustache on. See? It's like, you won't fool me. I know that canonically Dracula has a mustache in the books.
It's true.
It's one of the things they almost never get right in the movies.
And he also had hairy palms. Not the backs of his hands, but his actual palms were hairy.
Ah. Right, because he's like a Batman.
Because he's like a monstrous demon.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So what did he deal with? It was a hoax, right?
Yeah, there was a hoax in Geneva.
Yeah.
Which, of course, at the time is the nice, oh, I'll do a hoax first and a vampire second. Which is kind of greedy, but it, he didn't know that
right.
He didn't know that newspaper reports would reveal him.
Yeah. Now he's probably
Well, actually,
not going to get
it was
either.
Scouts, wasn't it?
It was Scouts.
Yeah. Though I've been found so many times by scouts in that highway with, Strasbourg 24, 60, 15, 54, that whole area, that I usually feel very unsafe when I'm hiding a route there when the hunters are just supplying. Of course, part of that is because I do my videos and I explain how much I like Central Europe as Dracula and how much I hate it as hunters.
I do a lot of the same kind of shenanigans. I like to start in 9 or 16 or 21 and then just start putting everything into all those little small towns.
Yeah.
21, 41, 51, 60, 24. That whole little shtick. Make it all nice and vampire-y.
Right. Because the hunters want to move by rail, generally. It's so efficient to use those rails. They're some of the most efficient rails on the board, which is fitting because in this time period, France had some of the best rails. As did the UK, of course, but UK is like all rails. And so the game represents that by having 2 high-efficiency rails next to Paris, which I don't think there's any city in the game that has 2 high-efficiency rails next to it.
I hadn't considered that. Yeah, I mean...
That's why
you can travel 3 cities in either direction from Paris. And both of those, if you travel all 3 cities, they'll land you on another big city.
Yeah. That's why I tell people not to go to Paris as Dracula, because hunters will just go there naturally when they're not even looking for you. Mm-hmm. I will sometimes start in Paris.
I didn't want to admit to it, but yeah, I said I started 9 or 16, but that's a lie because people check those for Amsterdam.
Right,
I started 42 and then go to either 39, 24, 51, head to Germany, something like that.
Yeah, that's I've seen that be a pretty popular thing where you include Nantes as part of the Dracula Highway. And then either you go from Le Havre to Nantes into the highway, or you go into the highway and then go to Nantes and Le Havre, and then if you get found, then you just escape the sea.
Right.
That's a pretty strong Dracula strat, pretty popular, pretty good.
It's also fun to leave something in Le Havre for Van Helsing.
Yes. I think I won a game where Dracula or Van Helsing then moved to 29 and Dracula was there.
Yeah.
And then I think either I killed Van Helsing or I forced him to have to leave, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to go to the ocean then, and you're gonna have to chase me.
I did. I went to Le Havre to put wolves or bodyguards or something down, and then I was like, by the time Van Helsing gets here, I'll be long gone. And then he excellent weathered onto me.
It's like, well, this is awkward, but it's good. Yeah. Oh, you hate to use excellent weather there. Yeah, I really don't think you should use excellent weather early to get Van Helsing off of it. Do it in that circumstance if you think Dracula's there, you want to jump on his location, and are planning to bring Mina in.
Think of it this way, okay?
Okay, you did go to Nuremberg.
When you excellent weather, you're saving yourself 1 day action, right?
Yeah.
But that card that you just expended represents a day action anyway.
Right, so you're not actually gaining anything.
So you're just breaking even.
That's an excellent way to look at it.
Yeah, it comes from that trading card game mentality where you have to think about card advantage and card economy.
What is and in this it's action.
Spend 1 action and you get a card. So if you use that card and it saves you an action, you broke even. But So there's really no, and that's the way the card is balanced.
Right, because
there's no way around that.
Right. So the
trick
question is
trying
like
to find other value.
Right. The value is I don't just need an extra movement. I need an extra movement right now. And
Yes,
that's...
I need to be on Dracula.
Right. He's in Cagliari. He's about to win. I need to jump into Cagliari with heroic leap and kill him.
Exactly.
That is when you need,
Because even if you play it like that, it's still like action neutral, so to speak. But now it's making all the difference in the world instead of just getting somebody to 29 a little quicker. And we talked about this in the last game too. It also gives Dracula a lot of information when he can eliminate important cards.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So now,
Excellent Weather is one of those scary
ones. You can go to
ones.
Cagliari and not worry about Excellent Weather.
Right, or not worry about someone jumping from Venice to Valona.
Even just the knowledge that he can feed in safety.
Yeah.
Is really valuable to Dracula, because how many times have you been Dracula and you're like, oh, what if I feed? But if I feed, they might all jump onto me.
Right,
oh no,
I mean,
this could be bad.
Or two of them might jump onto me.
And...
But if one of them's been used, you're like, oh, at most one of them is going to jump onto me, and that's fine.
Having the knowledge to be able to like know when you're safe and make the optimal move as a result.
Hey, dogs did a thing! Look at that!
Woo!
And that was a good one too. Spy is one of the bad ones.
Bark, bark.
Yeah.
Hard counter.
Mm-hmm. And she gets to keep the dogs because she searched with them.
Yeah, that's the best. Now, if you're Dracula, you know Mina has dogs, so if she moves on to your Saboteur or your
Well, the
other
thing is, he already knew.
spy,
He already knew
you
that she
wanna
had
ambush.
dogs.
Oh, that's true.
He chose not
That's
to.
true.
He chose not to ambush. Probably, maybe to try to trick her. Where she's like, oh, if he had something the dogs could take care of. So maybe he was hoping she would ignore it, but he didn't know that she also had a stake. So she was kind of like, I don't care what you have.
Right.
I mean, okay, bodyguards would be annoying, but...
Yeah, good dog.
Yeah. Yeah, canceling something like wolves is kind of like, okay, well, I mean, a weapon would have prevented 2 of the damage, but spy, that's a really bad one to cancel. That's one that can really wreck your day.
And we've talked about why do dogs cancel wolves, right? And people say, oh, how could a bunch of terriers take on wolves?
Well, the wolves eat the dogs instead.
I never thought.
Why do you think they're discarded?
Well, no, the answer is provided in the book itself from one of your favorite characters, Thomas Builder. He talks about, Lord bless me, sir, a wolf's just a lowly, mean creature. And,
Nothing like a dog.
Doesn't have half as much fight in it as a good, loyal hound.
That's right. I remember him
terrier.
talking about that. Yeah. Oh, another spy.
Well, one of the great things about this game is they were able to take that moment from the book with the dogs and the rats, and they were able to turn that into a fully fleshed out gameplay mechanic.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What else
really...
would dogs work on?
Right.
Some of his henchmen.
It's like, yeah, they're like watchdogs, and they can, protect you from spies and saboteurs and stuff. Because, like, bad design would be just having, like, one item that affects one thing, but another thing is like, okay, but what could have happened?
Exactly.
Who could have Dracula hired? We know he had henchmen. What other kind of henchmen could he have had? This kind of thing. Without going too far outside the realm of what the book is about.
Right. Yeah. It really hits that sweet spot of like fan fiction, but it's all like totally within the realm of plausibility. It all seems like stuff that you could have encountered in the book.
Yeah. This game has been at the higher ranks of like most thematic games for a while, and there's good reason for that.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like Dracula is in Austro-Hungary. He isn't necessarily there, but
yeah,
it is
it's
sort
like
of
I
pointing
said
that
earlier.
direction.
I would have wanted to go to Nuremberg and then 44.
The hunters should be able to deal with the trail. Oh, he did not. Is he going for the coast? That'll be. He needs to remember that the hunters have consecrated ground if he's trying to escape to the coast. It might be wolf form o'clock.
Was anybody in 21? Could he just be like hiding in the shadows?
Did Mina go to 21? I don't think anyone's gone to 21. Yeah.
16?
He could have. All right. Gotten rid of the hoax. That's both of the hoaxes out, I think. Yeah. Both hoaxes gone. No vampires yet. Just spies and hoaxes and bats. Just a lot of false info, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of,
yeah, I love putting down a whole row of trash encounters.
And then it's like, oh, there's going to be a ton of vampires that are just going to pile on us. And like, do we really want to hold on to stakes this long? Well, maybe. That's, but maybe not. Because then it's like you have horses and a stake. And that can be a problem.
I like as Dracula to put down a lot of my worst encounters first. Sometimes it'll bite you in the ass if the hunters
like,
don't
well,
put
I
their
got to
newspaper
mature
report.
those wolves.
But in my experience, most games don't get to mature the first card.
The hunters have gotten good enough that they know how to jump on that first location.
Right. So
even when they don't get the newspaper reports on
if it turns out to be a wolves or actually I'm a big fan of bodyguards first.
Yeah, bodyguard,
because then bodyguards down first.
It's like hedging your bets.
It either matures or it does some damage.
Right, and bodyguards is a good mature, unlike wolves.
Right. And then they go to the next card and it does a little more damage, and then they go to the next card and it does a little more damage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I just threw down all my trash encounters that deal damage that I don't really want to mature. But now you're all softened up, and here comes the real trail next.
Right, now you have to fight actual vampires. Or you set it up so that then, after they do that, then they move into you. And it's like, oh, this is a 5 health Godalming, or a 4 health Van Helsing, or something that is far more killable. Well, no, it wouldn't be Van Helsing. Van Helsing wouldn't be anywhere near there at that point.
It's also a little bit of a psychological tactic. It's like a mental assault on the hunters because they keep revealing their stakes or what have you, and they're just like, oh, it's another wolf.
Yeah,
it's another spy.
Every time I kill a vampire, I'm like, oh, good, all right, one fewer thing, one fewer of those to worry about. Where when I'm not killing vampires, I'm like,
crappy
oh, no.
ones, and it starts getting frustrating, and then they start thinking, well, maybe I'll just forget the trail entirely because he's just putting down crap anyway. And yeah, a lot of those bad cards don't have the best matured effect, but if you get a couple back to back, that's some decent value. Like if you mature a spy and a wolves, let's say, and they both go off to effect, not terrible.
Yeah, you can get damage out of it. Saboteur is the most it really depends, and 90% of the time it's gonna give you no value.
It's such a swingy card in general.
Yeah, because it's only one. It's like you have to have a situation where where you don't expect them to use rail or road, and that is helpful to you somehow.
Well, there's the mature effect, but even just the regular effect of the Saboteur too is very swingy because it'll either stop them from getting like a rumored vampire, and
and
really
it's like, oh, this is
critical,
so good. You should have brought dogs.
It'll rob somebody of their renewed vigor action or something like that. Either that, or it'll do virtually nothing.
Yeah.
Not all the time. I mean, I'm a big fan of like putting a Saboteur in a big city that's surrounded by small cities. So take like 10, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if they're chasing you into the east, you put a Saboteur in like 11 or 10 or something like that.
10 is a good one because 10 is often night supplied in.
And
they use their items and then they have to escape to 10, and then they can't, or they took a bunch of damage and then want to go to 10 and heal, and some delaying actions like that. That's actually where you want to use your night actions.
They thought they were going to supply the next day, and instead they're delayed.
Oh, what do you think about this? I think maybe he should have gone to Mina and done a scan to see if he's gone Austro-Hungary. Well, no, I guess at this point he could be all the way out of.
He would just have to check Munich, but I don't
Yeah.
No, because Mina was in Munich like just a couple days ago, though, right?
Maybe he's planning on going there next.
Too much manual searching. Too much single move searching.
So what Dracula should do now is misdirect to the location that he will form
After, yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because then that's gonna be a real big problem.
I mean, it could have been 51.
Mm-hmm. And wolf forming from 51, that we all know that gets you so many locations.
But it's almost like you rather they knew that it was from 51. Like, I mean, maybe not. Maybe you misdirect it and they go, "Where is he? I don't know." But I would almost rather the hunters knew, okay, he wolf formed from 51, because then at least they have to deal with that encounter.
Yeah.
And now maybe they like think they know more than they do, right? Like, oh, he wolf formed from 51. He must have gone down to Italy or something like that. You know, like, if you give them a little bit of rope, sometimes they'll hang themselves. As opposed to if they know nothing whatsoever, they're just gonna supply their way out of the situation.
It's true.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes some sense. Sometimes you want to. Sometimes hunters can do weird things when they have no information, and remember, yeah, them just sitting in place and supplying can really hose you. Some of it depends on how good your encounter is that you're misdirecting.
Right. There's also
So how
the
would you move
consideration
here? I guess Mina would go to 38 just to see if he's around there. Someone needs to go to Zurich.
Yeah, I would have wanted a psychic scan of Germany much earlier. Or potentially Austria-Hungary, I guess. But I would have been fine with psychic scanning Germany, at least. But at least we know he didn't go to 44. Okay, so get Godalming to Strasbourg. Or if he can't get there, get Van Helsing to Strasbourg. Because at this point, if he went to
Strasbourg seems like an obvious place. Yeah, I think he's probably going to send Van Helsing to Strasbourg to check to see if he will form from there, which I'm guessing that he did.
If he went to 21, he did that before 51.
All right, but he's going to check
So,
Zurich.
yeah, put him there, deal with that. That
Someone
makes
needs
sense.
to take Zurich.
Steward can try for like 51 or... See, this is when you start doing dangerous things like 39. Like,
right.
You could move Steward to 39, but if Dracula's not there, you're wasting your time.
Right, since you don't know, I would probably supply with Seward, which you hate to do because, like, you want him in a big city to do that. And next turn, you don't really want him supplying. You want him moving.
Has 2 items. I would rather move him to 36 or 42.
Oh, no. Well, not 36 because Van Helsing just moved from there. But if you're going to move him to 42, you might as well move him to, like, 39 or 8. Because those are at least big cities that are maybe near where Dracula is.
True.
And moving to 8 does kind of remove that as a, it kind of removes Spain as a possible option. Because it means he didn't go to 39 and then to 8. And since he was in 15, I don't think he could have gone past him.
Yeah, I think there's 2 likely suspects here. I think he either went to like 39 or...
Oh, he didn't check.
Where else would you go? Where else would you go?
I would have checked 51. I guess he's just wanting to clear his trail, which I can understand.
Yeah.
But he's been spending a lot of time. This feels like a lot of actions to have to deal with.
Yeah, this looks like a vampire in Strasbourg, for sure. Followed by a wolf form from Strasbourg. So that puts him in maybe 8. Maybe 57, but why would he go to Why would he go to Munich? Like, why would he wolf to Munich from 51? Like, if he could have gone 51 to 38, right? Munich, But why
Well,
would you do that? It's such a bad wolf form. And he didn't. She just moved. So
yeah,
that
yeah.
clears that up.
It
So he's
just
not
it seems like
57.
Strasbourg is what he did.
Right, but he could have wolfed to 37, but I
Yeah.
doubt it. He could have wolfed to 2, but I doubt it. I think 39. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Because
think
it
he
takes
might be
him
in
further
2.
away from Mina. And
I think there's a
Van
half
Helsing.
decent chance that he goes in 2 and re-enters, but it seems yeah, 39 feels like the most likely one, which is why I'm like it would have been really good for Seward to go there because he needed to go to a big city anyway. Of course, the weakness with 39 is that it's hard to get out of there.
Mhm.
I don't know who has horses,
He,
so
he could have even gone to La Havre. I hadn't even
yeah,
thought
La
of
Havre's
that. But yeah,
fine to go
PP1
to.
to take you to La Havre. I rarely consider that.
Oh, he's not searching Zurich.
Oh, he said
Oh,
it
he's
was
saying it was a mistake. Oh, that's rough.
At least the hoaxes are going.
Yeah. It is more easy than you would think to make those types of mistakes.
Oh, well, unfortunate that it's not a bats, you know? That would be a great mistake to make.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoops, sorry. Misclick.
Of course, if it's a regular vampire,
That's
it
not
matures.
great for Dracula either.
it's like, oh well, I guess we don't have to worry about that rumor token thing.
Yeah.
Of course, it also doesn't let you know where he wolf formed from.
Well, seeing as how he hasn't put down a vampire before it, it makes me think that it's yet another card he wants to mature before the vampire matures. So maybe bodyguards.
Maybe bodyguards.
mob.
Maybe he's just throwing down
mob.
trash. So I'm not too worried about this. I feel like it could be a delaying card of some kind, like a saboteur. We've already seen both of the spies. It could be a mob.
No. Yeah, thank goodness it's not a hoax.
Yeah, but
Oh,
given the
that would be
timing,
real shame
it
if it happened like
feels
that.
unlikely that it's a vampire. But we'll see.
Agreed, because of all like look at the pattern. Look at the pattern of cards he put down. Hoax, spy, bats, hoax. And then 3 more cards before the rumor token?
Yeah, hoax, spy, bats makes me think that it's a bodyguard. Like he was trying to get rid of the weapons so that the bodyguard could hit him.
Why put down a vampire
Oh, dogs.
before the rumor like
the dogs is a similar idea to the bodyguard. You know, you want to get rid of their weapons. Now this gives him this is actually a little
Get some
fun.
information, deal some damage.
He actually can't choose Godalming here, which is kind of funny.
That's such a bad joke.
It's a bad interpretation of the rules.
It should obviously include him.
Yeah, he actually can pick any of the other 3. That's fun. Ooh, he gets 2 damage on Van Helsing. That's not bad. I mean, if you're gonna want to put damage on somebody, Van Helsing's a good choice for it.
It's almost like free damage too.
Yeah,
He didn't have to fight anybody for that.
and he gets to see that Van Helsing has a gun.
Yeah, he's got a pistol. The old man's packing heat.
Yeah, you definitely want a weapon on Van Helsing. If anyone needs to have a weapon, it's Van Helsing. You do not want him suddenly dying to dogs and then a single claw attack. Or wolves, I mean.
I managed a game where Van Helsing moved on to me, and I ended up in a 2-on-1. But I triggered bats on him, and then I beat him up in the fight, so that he only had 2 health left. And then I batted him onto my lair, where I had left
that's a
my
fun
bodyguards. My bodyguards were like, "Yeah, we've been waiting for you, old man," and they beat him up and knocked him out. And
Hey, he did go to 39.
he had Mystic Research on him,
But he
too.
went to 29.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Lahar first.
Mhm.
The picture started taking shape because if you looked at where the hunters were situated, like wolfing to 37, like made no sense.
Yeah, that's a pretty bold guess though, because he did it being like, because he really needed a day supply, but he's like, nah, I think I know. He's
It's a good guess.
Yeah,
but
it's
he
good.
now he doesn't have anything to fight him with. Practically, he has 2 cards.
Yeah. It might be Van Helsing is trying to decide if he wants to trade him combat events or if he wants to move.
See, if you were so confident that he was in 39, right?
Well, he might have thought that he had gone to
Well,
39 and went to 8,
yeah,
and so he's like, oh, I wasn't
yeah,
expecting on...
yeah. That's true.
He's like,
I
I
hadn't
wasn't
considered
expecting on
it.
fighting Dracula. I was hoping to just find his trail.
Right.
That's a that's a hard thing to gauge of am I going to go onto his space or onto not.
That's
But
a
yeah,
good
the
point.
using the bats to send somebody into like a bodyguard, that's almost as fun as using the bats to send him into fog.
Yeah.
Like when you're in Athens and then you send him back into the fog that's on 55, and then you use that fog to lock off everyone from being able to get to Athens.
Oh,
I did that in my first game as Dracula that I ever played in second edition, and it was we kept having to look up the rules. Like, wait, so you can just basically you can just stay there? We just can't do anything to get to you except for going to sea? It's like, yeah, fog's a powerful card, and it did not get nerfed in third edition. It's just still good.
55 is probably the best spot on the board.
One of the best, yeah.
For fog plays.
8 is also pretty good.
And as you know, those dirty tricks start to like develop, though, people catch wise to it a little bit. Like,
Right,
oh,
and then
Dracula was in 38, and now he's in 59. What's he gonna do? Like, it's pretty obvious what his optimal move is to go to 55 and put down fog, right? Like, so
Right.
you can try to anticipate and shut that down. It's like the first time somebody told me that Dracula could wolf form from Marseille in 36, he could wolf form all the way to Nuremberg. That like blew my mind.
Right,
When I
it's
was
like, wow,
first
that's
moving
so
the game.
fast.
I was like, that's insane. And then the guy said, yeah, but now the question becomes like, will he do that? And
Right,
if he
right. The
does,
amount of
you can hire Scouts 41. You could be like, that's the most obvious spot.
Right, the amount of times I've seen people do variations of that, like they will form from Mediterranean Sea to Zurich and then go to Nuremberg, or they land in Marseille and then go directly to Nuremberg. And so often I'm like, well, I gotta check Nuremberg first. They always go to Nuremberg, and it's like, dang it!
And there he
Why
is.
do you keep guessing me? He's like, because Dracula's always go to Nuremberg from
'Cause
Marseille.
it looked like a powerful move to you, Dracula, and that's because it was.
Right.
To the point where we're aware of it.
Right, it's clearly the best, like, because there's so many options from Marseille that it's like, which of these is the best one? Well, this one kind of clearly is the best, which makes it not the best.
Right. Fight time.
All right, what do you have, Seward? You have one
He
combat
has
item.
one card to use against Dracula.
You're gonna throw Heavenly Host at him and then run like the Dickens, which is actually not bad because then if you get bit on the opening, it's almost a good thing.
Yeah. But if he fangs you in round 2, you waste the Heavenly Host for 2 damage. And that's Speaking of, we're talking about like we were talking about card economy and action economy and stuff like that too. So there's not very many things that can heal Dracula, right? And they all cost some sort of resource.
Man, back in my day, there was one thing that could heal Dracula, feed, and it healed one hit point, and we were thankful, dagnabbit. Now you kids these days,
We're
with
glad
your
to have that hit
fangs
point.
healing and your desecrated soil healing. Desecrated soil didn't heal. Okay, and Castle Dracula. Castle Dracula healed for 3 hit points back in second edition. But anyway,
Okay, so
you were
all,
saying
all those things that heal Dracula all require some sort of cost from him. He has to play the feed card, which costs him movement.
right, or
and
he reveal his
power.
location by moving to Castle Dracula.
Castle Dracula, exactly. Desecrated soil means he had to use that encounter instead of a different
Right,
one.
and then it slid off the trail. Yeah.
But when you're in a fight as Dracula and you play Fangs on a hunter and suck their blood, that's like free real estate.
It does feel like free
doesn't
real
cost you
estate.
anything. It's just blood for free. You're playing on house money.
Right.
Now obviously there's risk involved because you could get hurt.
And yeah, there's a lot of things that really damage it, like
Nice!
garlic, for example.
It was garlic the whole time. Here, have a taste of this.
Garlic's actually a pretty. If you're gonna have one item in combat,
you would,
garlic.
if you could only have one, well said, you
Yeah,
would want it to be a
I would pick garlic. Yeah, because there's nothing Dracula can do to get rid of it. It protects from a lot of the bad things.
He can hurt you, but only at his own expense.
Right, because it's basically an upgraded dodge. Of course, he should be escaping at this point, and Dracula should be trying to escape his bat.
Yeah, that'd be a good play from Drac here.
And
Yep.
it is what he's doing. And it is
From
what John
39,
Seward's
that's
doing.
not a bad move.
Yeah, but hey, Seward was able to do damage. That's good.
Yeah. You hurt him for 3.
3?
He punched him. in
Oh,
round
yeah.
1. We were theory crafting, and nonsense like that.
Right. That's good, and
Yeah,
that clears the encounter, which is kind of good.
right. Nothing
And
wrong with
like the number of locations that he could be, basically, it's a choice between 47 and 54. Because if he went
Yeah,
east, the hunters are just going to bumble into his location anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he
If
went
goes
down to 24 or 36, but
yeah.
the hunters are going to go there anyway to try to find him. So the question is, did he go to 54 or did he go to 47?
Mm-hmm.
Which is bad, but it doesn't obfuscate as much as some escapist bats.
Right.
can.
It's not like the worst escapist bat, and he actually gets a little bit of distance from the hunters.
Yeah.
But not that much, and yeah, not that limiting locations. Like, okay, so let's say Mino wants to go to 47. I mean, she's just as far away from 47 as she is from 39.
Right.
Assuming like fast.
Yeah, so it's like what value it gained
Assuming
distance
good
from
movement.
Seward, but as opposed to some of the other ones, not really.
Not so much.
Yeah. Now the question is, does Seward supply here? And I think I would Night supply here. Well, let's see
Roll
what
the
let's see what the
dice.
stats are. There's 23. Oh, actually, the odds are actually very in favor of a Dracula card being drawn. Oh, that's rough. That's a rough choice on whether or not to Night supply here. I don't know.
I mean,
The
it's not like Seward could fight Dracula tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking tomorrow. I'm thinking like multiple turns. Like you want to get
Thinking,
Seward
like,
into a
2 turns
position to
down the
fight
road, yeah.
because he's the closest one. So like not to fight this turn, but I'm thinking like 3 turns from now you want him to be able to fight because he has a horse and a garlic. And that is okay slightly for defense, as we saw there, but you want to actually scare Dracula off of Spain, which is presumably where he's going to be. Because
Right,
Dracula
but
will
is it-
stay on Spain if he doesn't feel like he needs to leave.
Right, but is it worth it to do that now if you take the
Right,
risk, or
that's
do
the
you just
question.
have him supply and not tomorrow?
And it looks like it is not, and I can understand that. With the discard pile being how it is. See, I'm used to last game, where in literally the last game, at one point it was a 1 in 4 chance of drawing a Dracula event, not 1 in 3. It was that disparate.
I do appreciate your style, though. Like, yes, the Dracula cards are in the deck, and yes, sometimes they can lose you the game, but a good portion of them will not lose you the game.
Right. And you need events to win the game. And there are certain circumstances where you desperately need events. Or desperately need items.
That's the thing is, did Seward need the event really badly? Depends on the event.
Yeah, it's more the items
needed,
that he needs.
He needed the items, but
Right.
the event would have been just like a bonus.
Yeah.
But again, depends on the event.
Oh, did he forget and didn't have Heavenly Host? Oh, he did. Oh, that's embarrassing.
What, in Frankfurt?
Van Helsing searched Frankfurt even though it was face up desecrated soil, and he
didn't
forgot.
reveal
He
the
did.
Heavenly Host.
He, I have accidentally done that a time or two.
Right.
Where I see the search button and I'm like, oh, it's a location I need to search, but I forgot.
Time to
I
search.
have already searched this location.
Yep. Or it's a lair or something.
Yeah. Well, the good news is he knows. Aside from the escape is bad, he knows pretty much what all of these places are. Now the dangerous situation is that he needs to find the escape is bad before Dracula gets a chance to misdirect it, which will be next turn. Which is
Yeah,
actually
this is
really
int-
important because in the event that he did do something crazy like go to 9, if he's in Amsterdam right now and then he misdirects 9, oh, that's real bad.
And this is a great time for me to mention that it's nice to have misdirect in your hand available for usage right now, isn't it? If he had in fact misdirected the place before
Right,
the wolf form,
place before the wolf form. First of all,
He
wouldn't have
wouldn't-
done him any good because apparently the hunters were smart enough to be able to find him even with that.
right, that's true. But even besides that, yeah, he wouldn't have misdirect available now. He needs
And this is a great time to use misdirect because you're not losing an encounter. The only thing you're really losing is the chance to layer the location.
Yeah.
So Seward,
That's the other thing too, is if you might misdirect only for them to say, okay, well, let's just go where we think he is anyway.
And this is why
And, like,
supplying
that's,
would have been really nice for Seward, because what Seward really needs to do right now is horse to 47, which, when you only have one combat item, still feels really bad, because for all you know, he hid in 47. And if you had had one more item, it would have be a little more like, even if you didn't pick up a combat item, a stake or something, just like getting more things. And he's like, do I need to supply now? Or do I really need to check and try to eliminate one of those most likely locations? And it looks like the answer is that he needs to move. But the horses fail him.
I wouldn't. I mean, a hide in 47 wouldn't even be bad.
Yeah,
Just like I said,
I think
in
it'd be
47, you're actually further away from most of the hunters than you are.
good. Though I like doubling up on
like
encounters
31.
personally, and that doesn't really accomplish doing that.
Mhm.
But it makes your trail shorter.
Yeah, I don't tend to hide much.
Oh, really?
There's a time and a place. I'm one of those few people who I actually attempt to hide. Well, not all the time. But I try to hide as an actual hide, right? If that makes
Oh, you
any
actually try
sense.
to use it for as
I've
the
used it on.
theme
I've used it
made
on you before.
Right, where I thought you moved
Yeah,
and I had to go back.
you're like,
yeah.
oh, surely he's moved onto this space by now, and then
Mhm.
you check all this space and you go, where is he? Oh,
He was
he's
staying
hiding.
in place. He's hiding. He's using the
I've-
card. He's not trying to
I've-
do some crazy combo with double
I've
reckless
actually,
vampire.
on occasion, I've used that to great effect because the hunters move out and go to where they thought you were, and now they're actually displaced.
Right, because usually
where
you move to the
really
worst
are.
location, and you're thinking, oh, the worst thing is that he went to Nuremberg or something, and then you have to go deal with it. But it's like, no, he didn't go to Nuremberg. He was staying in place.
Especially since after that you can wolf form and take advantage of the fact that they've like moved out of position to attempt to
Yeah,
hunt.
don't wolf form into a hide. Hide into a wolf form.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do clever shit like that.
Hey, he got rid of the desecrated soil.
Yeah, nice.
Finally
No
found the right
healing.
person. Dracula's probably got all the best. He's surely got vampires now. If he didn't before, which it seems like he didn't, because he hasn't played a single vampire that we've seen so far.
Look at all the encounter cards he got to discard face
That's
down.
crazy.
Because of the soil.
You almost want to force. In fact, the deck is about to reshuffle, and the annoying thing is the deck is going to reshuffle before fog has come out. So this might be a big brain play on the part of the hunters to force the reshuffle before any fog comes out, to ensure that he doesn't get to double up on fog. Which, if that is what the hunters are doing, that is the biggest brain play that I think I've ever
Seriously.
seen.
I'm so bad with like reshuffle play.
Yeah, you think it's not a big part of the game, but like it actually can be nuts. I've had 4 fogs once. I was able
Or
to
even
do...
like the hunters used their heavenly hosts, so I don't have to worry about a big CG happening to me.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then they reshuffle and they draw the 2 heavenly hosts they needed.
Right, or bum
Like,
rushing and
first
making
draw.
sure that the hunter dies right after the reshuffle, or as the hunter is like dying right before the reshuffle, and then making sure that you're able to get the horse again.
Oh wow, that's high level.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, it's okay if so and so dies here because the items
deck
will
is
reshuffle
about to right.
after, as opposed to it's not okay. That's interesting. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
So Kazakh made an interesting comment about a rats play the other day where he used a rats and it was right before reshuffle and rats stayed on the trail.
yes, that is
because
another
he didn't have a
thing.
particular rifle, so he got a reshuffle without rats.
Yeah, that is something I occasionally talk about in my videos, where it's like part of the good reason for layers and putting rats in layers and stuff is, first of all, because you get to reuse them in layer locations, but also because when the reshuffle happens, those cards are never going back.
They're layered.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's not just rats. Any card
Yeah,
that you
like
don't want to see again.
Saboteur, or even in some cases aristocratic vampires.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like in the late game, definitely.
Nothing worse than drawing an
Oh, look, he did the
aristocratic
thing. See, if he had misdirected, then he wouldn't have known this.
There would still be some seeds of doubt. You're
Yeah,
right.
I feel like misdirect is something
maybe a
maybe
missed
new.
opportunity.
I think Misdirect is maybe the card that new players don't use enough or know how to use. Like, you'll see new players use it for the Misdirect trick in the first week, but using it in these other circumstances to actually misdirect, to actually use it for the name of the card, it seems even intermediate players, I rarely see them use it.
Yeah, because had he misdirected that, there's a possibility maybe he didn't go to Spain.
Right, maybe he went to 54.
Maybe he went to 24.
Do I know enough to commit more hunters to this area or not?
Mm-hmm. Now he has to deal with Strasbourg. So, it wasn't Strasbourg.
No, wait. No, I think that's Strasbourg is.
Wait.
I think it's off the trail at this point.
Then where did he wolf form from?
No, I think he wolf formed from Strasbourg.
But wolf form's on the trail. What did I miss? Help us out, Scott.
Oh yeah, it's on the Where did he?
He went to Frankfurt, and then after that,
Frankfurt, wolf formed to 9, moved to 29, and then moved to 39. The trail is weird because a escapist bat removed something from it.
Yes, but that was 39.
That was 39.
That's
so he
where
wolf formed to
Santander
29 from, well, not 16. Not Amsterdam. Oh, no. Yeah, I think he wolf formed to 9, and then he moved to 29. And then he moved to the 39 location that is not on the trail that has been escapist batted away. Yeah, so I think it has to be 21. Although it could be actually 60.
Yeah, it was 21.
No, it can't be 60. 60 was on the trail.
It was already on the trail. You were right. It was 21, wolf to 9. See, he's trying to figure it out too.
Yeah.
He's bamboozled just like we are.
No, he should have gone to 24, 21.
It was 21, wolf to 9, move to 29, move to 39.
Yeah. Oh, 24 was the other one that it could have been. Yeah. Yeah, it was 21.
Well, it was definitely 21 because he revealed 21. Yeah.
He revealed 21?
Yeah, it's a layer now. Yeah, Van Helsing was in 21 earlier.
Wait, then where is it?
It was Desecrated Soil was at 21. So then after 21, Dracula.
Was it 30? Did he go to Leipzig and then wolf formed to 9?
That is what he did.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's man, what a play.
And everybody was in Germany and all around it too.
Wow. Nobody found it. It was able to stay there.
Who wolf forms from 30 to 9? Nobody ever does that.
I don't think I've ever seen it done. But it's a good move. It looks like it. Because normally you think 30 is not a good wolf form location because most of the places you want to go are like adjacent anyway. Like, okay, 44 is decently good. Ooh.
Oh, here's CG.
I don't know about this.
No, I feel like hunters have a mental tendency to just check off 9 without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because, like, why would Dracula ever want to be in Brussels? Like,
I don't like this consecrated ground. Dracula is probably on the coast, and consecrating
he's
grounding Dracula on the
right
coast gets you like very little accomplished.
He's probably in 31 right now.
Yeah, what is consecrated ground going to do? Make him go to sea?
Yeah, no, maybe a bit of a misplay, unfortunately, there.
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's not a good use of consecrated ground. And now Dracula can be like, oh great, I can go to the UK now. The threat of consecrated, if consecrated ground isn't winning you the game or getting Dracula 10 points of damage, you aren't using consecrated ground right.
Yeah, I mean, there is. You can use it to drive Dracula into the sea at a time when it's inconvenient for him, right?
Sure.
And I've seen that used to great effect. We had a game where Scott Sword was it was like you were right. Scott Sword was Dracula, and we had like a 4-on-1 against him, and we managed to force him into the sea so that he couldn't use feed. And because his health was so very low, he was then forced to immediately land. He couldn't move by sea again because we had
Yeah, see, that's an example of like that's basically
we had to
winning
think
you the
outside
game.
the box.
Right,
we
right.
had to think outside the box. But you're right. Yeah, it is an example of it's just winning the game right off the bat.
Right, it's just not necessarily immediately winning the game, but like you're gonna win the game in several turns. Like
I had a
forcing it.
game against Burke Molly where I was just so terrified that he was going to go to Athens and that I wouldn't be able to deal with it, that I played Consecrated Ground to force him to instead leave from 1756, the Black Sea, right? Well, specifically 17.
Oh, interesting.
I had a situation where if he wanted to leave by sea, he was in Sofia, so that meant he was gonna have to wolf form once I consecrated grounded 46 and 55 and 56, right? So I hit 56, 46, 55, which maybe wasn't the best CG, but I wanted him to be forced to either move to 10 or to wolf form.
Oh,
17.
interesting.
I didn't want him to just go hop along to 55 and put fog down and go to Athens, right?
Right.
I tried to look ahead and I was like, if that happens, I'm gonna lose.
55 is 55 where you put the permanent consecrated ground.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good spot for it because not only does it keep him from getting to Athens, it also keeps him from escaping from CV, the Adriatic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so the idea was to force him to leave from the Black Sea.
Yeah, so in that sense, 55
then
actually has a
I
lot of
went-
the same value that 38 does, for the same reason. That is that it shuts off one of Dracula's main routes of going to the west.
So if you can use it to just force him into suboptimal plays so that you don't have to deal with the optimal plays, that can be powerful, but you're giving up your best card to do it.
I don't know
So
about Mina's
34.
move here. I think you want to send 2 people into Spain, and the other 2 needs to be supplying, especially Van Helsing, because he can be supplying, getting events, and then trading those out. I think the hunters are overcommitting here into Spain.
Yeah, it only takes Seward to mop up these encounters. Especially now that there's been a mature, he has time. He can go to 34 and supply. Or he can go to 31 and deal with that encounter and then supply in 31, right? So all you really need here is Seward.
Oh, Vampire Lair. That's good to see.
Nice. So that means, get Van Helsing supplying, get Godalming supplying.
Yeah, Van Helsing doesn't have.
supplying.
Van Helsing's job is he needs to supply, get the stake, and then do Vampire Lair. And he stays there. He's in a good position. He is close to one of the 2 different escape routes from Spain, the Mediterranean one. And so he's able to cover that escape route while doing something that is useful.
So Dracula went 31, 12, 26, 1. Is that what
Or
in 1 right
34, 1, 26, 12.
now? Right. So he's on one of the coasts of Spain right now.
Yeah.
In 1 or 12.
So what I would do with Seward is I would move him to 34 because he needs to supply. And that sort of will tell you, did he go to 34 first or did he not? And now he's in Alicante and he's going to have to go to sea.
Yeah, because if he went to 34 first, then 3 spaces. It could still be either direction, though. He could have gone 47, 34,
right, he could. No, he
1,
couldn't.
26,
Not
12,
4.
or 12, 26, 1.
No, because 4 and 1 aren't connected.
No, I know. I'm saying he could have gone 47, 34, 12, 26, 1. Or 1,
Oh, I see what
12.
you're saying. Oh, yeah. That'd be
East,
nuts.
west,
34,
west,
12, 26, 1. That's almost like he's going. That's like zigzagging across Spain. Usually you do circles around Spain. Zigzagging would be. That's something. Yeah, he could have even gone 31, 34, 12, 26 if he was going for maximum zigzag.
Right. I mean, he's seen consecrated ground now.
Right.
So why not?
Why leave? There's only 1 hunter. Okay. Yeah.
This makes sense. Either way, he'll be leaving soon. I don't think even if you don't put more hunters into Spain, there's not really anywhere else for him to go.
Yeah, Van Helsing needs to day supply, and Mina needs to day supply.
61 events still in the deck.
Yeah, he needs his events.
That's highly
That's
unfortunate.
really high number of events.
Got to get
this
more
point in the
events
game.
out.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's week 3. Last game there were like 34 or 36 events left by this point in the game.
Yeah,
or 30. I think it was even less than that.
What's the lowest number of events you've ever seen at the end?
I've heard of people going through the whole deck.
Wow.
But that required specific circumstances to go.
But did you still
the least
win?
that I've seen,
It doesn't
I think,
count if you didn't win and catch Dracula.
Right. I think the least that I've seen. What? No, Van Helsing. No. This is not how you deal with Pirate Dracula. So this preemptive move would be fine if it was Mina preemptively going to the UK. The UK you actually do want to preemptively move to, but for everywhere other than the UK you don't want to do that. Like maybe if he's going to Cagliari, but no. Okay, that's a fine move for Mina.
By moving preemptively like this, now Dracula will just decide not to go to Cagliari.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, I just won't then. I'll go to any of the other good spaces, and now you're wasting turns moving instead of using turns to supply.
Yeah. Knowing when to move hunters by sea, I think, is actually one of the trickier skill elements in this game.
Yeah, because with land movement, you can kind of like, if you mess up, you can just try to do a horse or use a cool event to catch up. But there's so little margin for error with ocean movement.
Yep. Especially like you go to sea and you're thinking, I'll catch Dracula, but you had your math wrong, you're 1 day behind, and now Dracula goes to sea and you're in the same sea zone as Dracula. And no matter where you go now,
it's like wherever I'm going to land, he's going to go to the other place.
He's going to go to the other sea or the other port or what have you. Yeah.
Oh no, Seward does not have a weapon.
I think that's why Excellent Weather is such a good card.
Seward's going to get mugged by these
yeah.
these
bodyguards. Man, beat up. Got a beauty scar.
If he had Night Supplied, like when I was telling him to, maybe he'd drawn a weapon and he wouldn't have to deal with that.
But
see, you
maybe
think Night Supply,
maybe he would have drawn Darkness Returns.
Right, you think about the risk of Night Supplying. What you need to do is think about the risk of not Night Supplying. And is the risk of not Night Supplying worth it?
That is big brain.
And sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no, the risk is not worth it, and I'm not going to Night Supply. But think of everything that Seward could be doing if he had a useful event. Or a useful item.
The reason Van Helsing should not have moved is because 36 is a spot that is fine, has fine connections
it's
to
really
everywhere
good.
Dracula wants to go.
It's almost as good as Paris in terms of its ability to reach out and touch a lot of places on the board.
On top of that, we simply just have not seen enough events drawn from the deck.
Yeah,
have not drawn it. The too much movement, not enough event.
Yeah, you can't win with the number of events that the hunters have.
Every move needs to have purpose behind it. Needs to have. So what's the purpose here? Is it to send Van Helsing to 1 and deal with Alicante? Because you've already got a hunter in Spain for that.
Yeah.
Now,
you're not in a rush to
get
to Alicante.
The rumor, but yeah, now they're really committing to Spain really hard.
If Mina moves, so help me.
I mean, if anything, she should move to 8.
Or 42. 42 is actually, I think, a good place for Mina, because then she could go to UK if she needs to, or she could go down into Italy if she needs to.
Right.
And she could be supplying in, once again, Paris, good spot for hunters. Good. Dracula stayed on land.
What is going? He's hiding in 31 then?
What? Unless he made a big oopsie and is hiding in 26.
God, she just moved to 54.
No, that's so bad.
If anything, move to 8 because you're on the train.
Yeah, 8 is at least allows you to reach out and man, new hunters, guys. That Geo's new to the game.
Well, let's
cut him some slack.
Let's try to be constructive. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why 54 is not a good move is that first of all, Dracula literally cannot get there because of the consecrated ground without going through 8.
Yeah.
So it's better to go to 8 because 8 is a bigger city. You think, 54 is better because it's closer. It's further on the map towards Spain than 8 is. Like, well, no. You need to think about how the rail connections are. Two things can be very close on the map and then be not very close because the roads don't go that way. Terrain is really important, and the roads and rails sort of represent terrain.
I don't like a move to a small city unless either you're dealing with the trail, you're moving to Dracula, or you just are you're well supplied enough that it doesn't matter anymore, and you're fast horsing.
Right, but she's not well supplied.
But she's not well supplied, and it wasn't a fast horse move. It was a single move. So, like, if you're gonna fast horse and you wind up on a small city because it's more efficient, that's fine. But if you're gonna move a single space, it's almost always better to end on a big city.
Yeah, like moving from 59 to 49 is good because that's the direction that you need to go. But if you have a choice to go to a big city, you generally want to go to the big city unless you think Dracula is there. But in this case, he literally can't be. Oh my gosh, is Dracula stuck in 26? If Dracula is stuck in 26, that is so
12?
funny. Yeah, he'd have to misdirect 12 and then move there.
I think you're right. Otherwise,
oh my
I wouldn't have
goodness.
gone to C already.
Right, if he's not, I go to
pee.
C now.
There's no
He's
way.
like, you gotta stay on land. Oh, no,
Okay,
no,
there
he's
it is.
he's going. Unless he's dark
No,
calling.
wait. Oh, it is
yeah,
a
yeah.
C.
He's going to C, yeah.
I thought it was wolf form at first,
Yeah.
but no, yeah, it was 2 damage.
Okay, now, since he's gone to C, Mina needs to go to 36, and Godalming needs to go to 8.
So which C? Has to be South Atlantic.
Has to be South Atlantic.
Has to be South Atlantic. So
Literally cannot be any of the others.
on the plus side, we at least know where Dracula is. So if we can mop up 4 encounters and kind of get our ducks in a row as far as where the hunters are situated on the map, they could potentially still give chase to fleeing Dracula here, either into the UK, or maybe he's going to go over the UK into North Germany, or he's just going to make a beeline east. I mean, he's really got... It's 3 options when you think about it.
Right, and before Dracula picks those options, the hunters need to be supplying. The only exception to that is that someone needs to start moving to the UK now. And then Mina needs to be supplying, and then Seward and Van Helsing need to clean up the trail. To a degree, there is an argument to be made for clear up the rumor token and then forget the other 2.
Right. Especially with no hoax in play.
Yeah,
it's
that
more
is
devastating non-vampire cards.
Right. But there's also an argument for no, clean up the whole trail. You've already lost 4 points. You can't afford to lose more points. And I can understand the argument for either one.
Right. He could have backup vampires.
Yeah, especially with all that desecration. He's already been through the whole deck, and we have seen what? No vampires?
Pretty much.
No, the new vampire, the one that matured.
Yeah.
So these could all be vampires.
Yeah, and then it would go up to 8 or 7 points, which...
It'd be bad.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be great, but 7 isn't 10, at least. 8 points isn't 10 points, so...
Yeah, 10 is really tough, because then you have to kill Dracula before
still
the final...
make the Hail Mary pass and kill him.
I don't hate this move. He needs to supply. Hired Scout's not really going to do you a lot of good. I guess you might find out where he hid. I'm guessing he hid in wherever the rumor token is. Yeah. Oh, he didn't. He didn't hide where the rumor token was. Fascinating.
Sure he did.
Oh, he did. So I'm blind. I'm looking at the map wrong. Yeah, he hid in Cadiz. Where the rumor
So what's that?
is.
Double vamp?
Man, I can't imagine a newbie with double vamp.
Wouldn't shock me.
I would.
Well, no. Fangs of Fire is probably him, and Strider and Altaris are probably the most experienced people in this tournament.
Well, but right, Fangs is playing Dracula. Yeah, he might double vamp.
Plus, I mean, you'd be surprised. My sister's boyfriend double vamped, almost won in the game.
Yeah, and for some reason, double vamping seems to happen a lot in Spain. I've noticed. I think it's because you feel like you have time.
Mm-hmm. And you're in kind of a dead end cul-de-sac.
And you don't generally you don't get a whole lot of value out of fog. Like fog doesn't block routes really in like 31 or 12 because it's really easy to just go around. What?
Just
Mina,
moving Mina back and forth.
there are big cities next to you. There are nice, lovely, large French cities full of places for you to get friends who will give you garlic and guns.
And garlic.
Yeah. Why are you going to these, like, backwater towns? You aren't Dracula.
That reminds me, I did have one bone to pick with you regarding your theme interpretation video.
Oh.
When it comes to the heavenly host, it is absolutely a wafer of bread. there's no question about that. You are smacking Dracula with the holy bread.
No, that's what it is. There's just the idea that holy water is like similar enough that it's sort of included in the same category.
Right, that makes sense.
Which like it isn't, but it's like it's at least like sort of in the same route. But yeah, a heavenly host is the wafer. It is. And in the original, it shows a wafer. Or in second edition, it shows a wafer. But in this, it's like it's holy water.
Right.
But they're calling it
I
a
want to
heavenly
see the
host.
second edition art. I gotta look that up.
It's just so actually, second edition is actually kind of cool. It actually the image is showing them making the holy circle.
Oh, they rolling the bread into the clay.
Well, no, putting a bunch of it's like on a blue ground, and they're putting down a bunch of the wafers, and it actually almost looks like the Starry Night painting from Vincent van Gogh, and it actually looks really pretty. And
I mean the tokens that you get, the heavenly host tokens, they're clearly a wafer.
Yeah.
Clearly designed to be.
But then, like, if you didn't like it, show like someone pushing it against Dracula's head and it burning his face like a hot coal, and like fire is bursting out of it. Like that looks cool. If you think it's dumb that you're fighting Dracula with wafers, because that is what it is.
Yeah, push it against his forehead and it sears him like they did.
Right.
Another thing is that I love the Holy Circle art with all the fire and everything.
It is pretty. It's pretty art. Yeah.
But maybe for anybody who's listening who might not know this, in the book, Van Helsing essentially he takes like putty, like clay, and mixes it up with a bunch of broken up crumbs of wafer.
Right.
And that forms the Holy Circle. So it's not as exciting as like a flaming brand lighting a big ring of fire around you.
And it's like you
here, take this Play-Doh with holy bread in it. But it actually makes a lot of sense in the book where he uses it to seal up the tomb
Mina's
of Lucy.
Lucy's place, yeah.
Right, so it's like, it makes sense. It seals up all the gaps in the doorstops.
Right, so what they did with that in second edition is they sort of had garlic be the thing that's used in that way. And the way garlic worked is so they didn't have the whole mechanic of Dracula's pride. Dracula could retreat any time, I think, with the first round. But garlic, when you played garlic, Dracula could not escape for 3 rounds. And so the idea was that you were using garlic the way that Heavenly Host is used to like seal up the escapes. But it became such a thing that you always had to have someone bring garlic to prevent it, that they just were like, okay, fine, we're just including the mechanic that Dracula can't escape for XYZ rounds, and then we're reworking the items.
This should just be a game mechanic.
Because it's not a fun thing. It's like, I'm going to play this card, and now I just can't do... Because the fun part is like the playing the items to try to counter the items that have different... effects,
right?
And these like preemptive things that affect at the beginning of a combat, like Garlic Wreath, is still also not very fun, but it's at least more fun than the original Garlic was.
I like the way Garlic is implemented in this game a lot, because it's like, if you were fighting a vampire and you had garlic, you kind of wouldn't exactly know what it's gonna do.
Right? You just kind of are standing there,
throw it out there, and hope that he doesn't like it.
Right.
That's kind of exactly how it works.
It really shows that it's a defensive item, and that the vampire kind of has to like come at you to take damage.
I love the thematic way it works too, because he can't grip it with his strength. Because to touch garlic would
it like weakens his strength. It's not like he can break it, with his hands.
And if he claws you, he gets garlic under his fingernails.
Right. If he even gets near to you, it's just going to hurt him. Whereas like the crucifix, he just has to like close his eyes. Well, he shouldn't be able to break the crucifix thematically, but I think it would be cooler with
I'm fine
strength.
with it though. Yeah.
With strength, I think it would be cooler if it showed him like throwing something, because then it would actually make a lot of sense for why he's able to break certain things. Because like he just like hurls some large object. For balance, I think it definitely makes sense that he should be able to break crucifix. Because I actually really like where crucifix is in terms of its game design.
Oh yeah,
it's like very strong in certain circumstances and very weak, and that's okay for a rare card.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's people don't usually pick the crucifix, but when it comes out for that surprise move, it's really good.
High reward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of the scene in the Coppola film where they confront Dracula and they throw up a crucifix in his face, and he stamps the ground and the crucifix catches fire. Like, is that strength exactly? I don't know, but it's just a very cool scene that I always think about.
Modern films don't like the Christian element, so they always try to downplay it in some way of being like, no, a crucifix fighting a vampire is dumb. So that we always have
not that movie though.
We always have vampires get out of it in some way, in some dumb way of them.
Well, I think the idea is, from like a lore balancing perspective, if that makes any sense. Like, you can't have Dracula just be like, oh no, a crucifix, I lose.
Well, yeah, that's why I like the idea of like strength showing him like throwing something at it, or it having a defensive element, like the way garlic is, where they're just it shouldn't be just an I lose. Like it's like I really like how they designed it with Heavenly Host. Like Heavenly Host is this wildly powerful thing, but it's literally a cracker. So you're having to try to get as close as possible to the vampire. So if the vampire is doing the close range attack, you lose. No, you fail.
He eats your cracker.
No, that would be really bad for the vampire. That would be really bad for the vampire. No, it's
all
just
right.
like,
Are we dealing with Cadiz? Are we dealing with this?
It looks like we're not dealing with Cadiz.
The hunters were somewhat overcommitted to Spain, only to then pull out of Spain.
That's like the worst combination. If you're going to commit to it, you need to then take care of the encounters.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But now Dracula could be in Ireland, and this is why it's really important. This is why with the UK you have to be proactive, because you can't really play catch up here now. This is not looking good for the hunters.
Maybe with the crucifix, he like slaps it out of your hand before you can like properly bring it to bear.
That's what I've always sort of assumed is going on.
He just like wrenches it from you, or just like smacks it from you.
Right. Whereas the garlic just kind of is like it's always there, emanating the stuff that's messing with the vampire, and so just like
he's like, I'm not touching that thing.
Right. Whereas the crucifix, he's like knocking you down and you're dropping it.
Right.
Something like that. Whereas if you drop the garlic, it still works. Like the garlic still works. It's if it's knocked out of your hand, then you
just pick it back up.
Right, you just pick it back up, or you just lay there,
snap it in half like
right, or you just lay there next to the garlic, and the vampire still can't get to you.
Just lay in a bed of garlic.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what's your plan here? Yeah, and then with claws, it's like he's like having to grit his teeth and just take the damage. And try to slash at you. But it's like, when you have garlic, it's like, I'm not taking damage unless you want to also take damage. We can go down together.
What is gonna happen?
Maybe he has forewarned?
Maybe he has a stake?
Well, I'm worried that the hide thing is going to delay him and he's not going to be able to deal with Cadiz.
Oh, yeah.
Because we haven't seen any saboteurs, and I think we've only seen one bats. And of course, I'm also worried Dracula could be in either the island locations.
Oh, this screams 60 to me. Or like, 60 adjacent. Like I'm being clever and I'm going to 37 or something.
Yeah, 60's pretty. Man, this would be really great for hypnosis.
Yeah, hypnosis is so good here because it eliminates 24, 60, 37, and 25 all in one go.
And 23 and 18. Remember, Dracula could be in Ireland.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I was thinking just like Psychic Bond, right? Like
Oh yeah, compared to Psychic Bond.
if somehow you were like to get to 24 in Psychic Bond, you eliminate not one but 4 spaces. So that's not a bad play in my mind. But yeah, Hypnosis would obviously be even better because you just get right on top of them after.
Yeah, even a money trail would be nice. But again, he didn't draw those events, and now he doesn't have those events when he really needs them.
Still 58 events in the deck because everybody's just been moving nonstop.
Many events. You can't win by moving. I mean, Mina literally walked back and forth between 2 cities. When maybe she could be drawing Renewed Vigor, or Money Trail, or Hypnosis, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an unfortunate bit of...
This is why I make my videos, is because it's so hard to play good as hunters at the beginning.
It's a long, long road to victory.
It's so long.
Game,
I had to lose like, I think I played 10 games of Fury of Dracula, just losing as hunters over and over again before we ever had hunters win. And the only time I think we ever had it happen was on digital.
My sister used to play Dracula, and I would try to catch her as the hunters, and she just made my life a living hell. Now I have my revenge, though, because she has yet to escape me since I got into the true game. Once I cracked the code by
this is where the true game begins. Oh, looks like we might have Hypnosis.
Okay, all right.
They're maneuvering because scanning France, like there's value in scanning France, but not a lot.
I'll say this though, now when I play on tabletop, I have actually imported the rule. Dracula is not.
Oh, he did just do a Psychic Bond.
That unfortunately only eliminates like 15.
Yeah. Do you think it would improve the game if hunters were only allowed to gather tickets at cities that had rail connections?
That's an interesting idea. I hadn't considered that.
I think that might change the map in interesting ways. Although it might make the East even stronger.
Yeah, that could be even scarier.
It's like, man, while I'm having to search for Dracula, I also can't try to improve my horse economy.
Yeah, your horse economy overall would suffer.
Yeah, the East feels like it's like just strong enough, and if you make it even a little stronger, it'll be too strong.
Yeah, because in that regard, you're nerfing trains, and trains out there already suck.
Yeah, trains do not need to be nerfed.
Yeah, but when I play on the tabletop now, I use the rule that Dracula selects his location card first before the trail moves, because I actually really like that.
Oh, really?
Digital. Yeah.
How does that affect moving?
Whether it was correctly implemented or not, I don't know. But
no, it is. It is definitely incorrectly implemented in the digital.
Well, I mean, whether it was like a conscious decision for them to do that.
Oh, right, I got you.
It's not the official rules.
Oh, so you play with the way it is on digital.
Yeah.
I
brought that into my tabletop experience because, first of all, I'm playing with people who they follow whatever rules I tell them to follow.
Yeah.
We're not all on equal footing in terms of like how much of the game
right.
we know. I'm playing with random friends and such. But also, yeah, I can't exactly say why, but I like it.
It feels a little, and different iterations of Fury of Dracula have used that version of the rule, if I remember correctly. Where you pick first and then it slides. It feels a little more elegant. Like it's harder to manage the bookkeeping if you have to slide first and then be like, wait, where's everything now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mina, you could have gone to Marseille many days ago.
A little more restricted. Yeah, you could have been there. You could have been there a week ago, almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see the... Man, she still has those dogs. Those faithful dogs that protect her from their spies. Oof.
This game's had its ups and downs.
It's had its ups and downs. The hunters had the opportunities. But opportunities without event cards are hard to take advantage of. Still not in France.
Still 58 event cards left.
Yeah, you just...
Because like late in the game, there should be... Like,
Dracula's obviously in the UK.
Than 20.
With Consecrated Ground coming out, there's no reason for him not to go to the UK.
Yeah. Perfectly safe.
and I don't even think at this point there's anything the hunters could do to save themselves in this consequence. Um, yeah, I literally don't think it's possible. I guess the hunters could. Uh, no, no, that's not. No, what? I think he's lost. I think he doesn't understand that Dracula could have gone north and landed in Ireland, and he's thinking, oh, he's not in Ireland. It's like, no, he could have hid.
Perhaps, perhaps he's planning on moving to 2 to head to England.
Sure, let's
But
be optimistic
29
and think that. But
29 would have been better. Yeah.
right, he's got a because entering via. Oh my goodness, he was in Milan the whole time. Well, suddenly we got a game.
Well, I was right.
Wow, suddenly the hunters look like geniuses by moving Van Helsing ahead of time. Yeah, and it's like, wow, it's really good he didn't go to 29. Wow. Well, just like that, the game can turn.
Interesting. Yeah, because when I saw 2 sea zones and then a wolf, I mean,
Yeah.
Italy
Although
seemed much more likely than 18.
all Dracula has to do is go to sea, wait for all the despair to hit the table, and then land. So if he's at a port right now.
Depends what he did. Yeah, did he go to 38 and 57, or did he
He's
go
in
to
Venice.
38 and 59? Because if he's in 59, they could maybe even catch him.
Yeah. See, he doesn't have that horse economy. It seems to me that he's in 57, either hidden or he went to 20, or maybe he went to 45. If he's in 20, the hunters have another chance. Because he'll have to move to like 45 or something, and then maybe the hunters can jump on him, but. Yeah. It is sometimes rough watching newer hunters play. But, they're doing their best. And it is really hard to... It's hard to play, and also, if you don't know how the game is supposed to be played, it's really easy to play the game wrong.
It's tough to imagine what correct play looks like when you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
Or not to say that this player necessarily hasn't, but we're just spitballing here. Back when I used to start playing this game, like, I just thought Fast Horses was a bad card.
Right, yeah, like this game was out
it always fails and you lose it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. This game was played for like 5 or 6 years before I made my video on Fast Horses. And like figured it out with my brother. Oh my goodness, this is actually the best card in the game, and this can completely annihilate, and oh wow. This is how we should be playing.
Curve. That's right, Scott Sword. And Scott Sword and I were talking in the chat the other day about, oh, do you think these kinds of like concepts were intentionally developed, some of them, or were they just incidental? I think almost every interaction in this game was really carefully thought over.
I agree.
Because the systems work and affect each other in a really interesting way, right? Like,
yeah.
It would have really been easy to just make Fast Horses say, like, roll a die, and it's random, but it's not. It's
right, no, you have
tied
control.
in to your ticket economy, and if you have better tickets, you can move by train more efficiently, but your horses are worse. And if you have better horses...
Yeah, and then
you
different
have worse
parts.
trains.
Yeah, different parts of the map, horses are faster. In different parts of the map, rail is faster, and so you have to like choose and manage. Do I want good rails here? Do I want good horses here? It's not just simply a matter of always have good horses or always have good rails. Like 70 or 80% of the time, you want to only have good horses, but that's not even like the vast majority. That's like most of the time. 20 and 30% is still a large percent of the time when suddenly you have to be like, oh no, rails. I've done games where I've had to play the whole game and I never did a single successful fast horse roll, just because I was having to use rails most of the time.
And all the other systems are interrelated too. Like,
Yeah.
Dracula's influence bar is a very well thought out concept.
Yeah, 13 is such a interestingly specific number given the things that give points.
And the superstitious connotations and everything.
Right,
And
right. It reminds me a lot of
very
the
cool.
scoring system of American football, actually. Like, the way that the different numbers interact there is really interesting.
Right. You get, if you mature the beefiest, toughest to kill vampire, you only get 3 points instead of 4,
Right.
which is actually significant because that affects the later stage of the game when Fury of Dracula kicks in.
Yeah, and one
Like,
point.
all these things are tied in.
Uh huh. Like, 2 sevens will win you the game, but you can mature like 4 3. Well, not 4 threes because there's only 2 threes in
Or
the
like
game.
like
but,
a 7 and a 3 or a 4 and a 3.
right. But you could
Like
you
that.
could you could mature 3 vampires and lose. You know.
Yeah, and another thing I thought was really unfair about this game when I began playing was rumor tokens. I didn't understand how that could possibly be correct, that Dracula actually gets 7 points for one single vampire. He fills up half his bar to victory.
Yeah,
Crazy. But now it's like, no, it actually makes sense, because if he gets that rumored vampire through at the very beginning of the game, because there was no newspaper reports.
Oh, swing and a miss.
It's neat.
Yeah, rumor tokens especially. Even some of my early videos, I was like, oh, I don't play with rumor tokens because they're too strong. Because I was so convinced that like Dracula was overpowered and there's got to be a way to balance it. It's like, oh, I guess rumor tokens. But now it's like, no. Rumor tokens are vitally important to the game, and they allow Dracula to take advantage of the obfuscation and to the whole wagering system of, I'm going to use this limited resource because I think that this thing can mature.
Exactly.
It's actually a really good mechanic,
It
and it's
creates-
funny. You
it
go on
creates
Board Game Geek.
interaction, There's bluffing potential.
Yeah, it's interesting. You go on Board Game Geek, and rumor tokens are one of the most like, here's a different way to do rumor tokens. Oh, finally a good way to do rumor tokens. And it's like, no, actually, the basic rules for that are really good. It's the only thing that has more variant rules or more things to quote unquote fix Pirate Dracula,
Right.
because people don't understand that the game was never broken to begin with. If anything, Garlic Wreath is underpowered, and there should be more things that let Dracula events come into play. But that is
And it's Vienna with fog.
Vienna with fog.
And no forewarn.
Oh, that's funny. That's kind of a BM move, but it's fun.
And shout out to my guy Randit, who was one of the original Board Game Geek voices on there, preaching the good word about how, guys, you're just not playing the game right. It's not easy, but he can be caught.
Yeah, he can be caught even consistently, and you have all of the tools to win. But that doesn't mean you'll win every time. Like, all of the tools are still there, but it's still like,
Dracula has tools too.
yeah, Dracula has tools too. He has a whole box of tricky stuff that even I'm still learning about, even after years and years of playing this game in its various iterations. Well, thanks for coming on, Captain Gyro.
Hey,
and,
I had a blast. Thanks
yeah,
for
this is
having
good.
me.
We should commentate more. Hopefully I will have time. I cannot guarantee that I will have time because I am busy.
I heard you got engaged.
I heard that too.
Congratulations, Mike.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're very, very excited. Well, hopefully I will make more videos, but until the next time, Godspeed.